holy hair, beat like brass. Love on my life, it's always gonna last. Mama love it when I'm going to class, and you know every trial and test, yes, I'ma pass. 40 days, 40 nights, heat fast. Always by my side, always down the ride. That's why I call your name, they come and say today, you're the only one, you're shy. Late night when I get a little.
Hi everyone, I am coming before you right now with another video. Today we are going to go over what it really means to be financially free according to the scriptures. We're going to go over 20 things, and the first one is going to be financial freedom is realizing that true prosperity comes from the Most High, okay? And the scriptural reference for that is going to be Deuteronomy 8 and 18, okay? 8 and 18. And it says, if we think that we can get rich by our own efforts, we will become victims of our own schemes, okay? By our own schemes. If we think that we can do it without the Most High, we will be victims of our own scheme, okay? And it says, for it is He, also known as the Most High, that giveth the power to get wealth. Okay, it is Him that gives us that power. So if we think that we're doing it, we will be victims of our own schemes. The second thing is financial freedom is committing ourselves to the Most High's purpose for the money in the first place. So we have to understand that. The scriptural backing for that is going to be Matthew 6 and 30. Okay, that's 6 and 30. And it says the purpose of money is not to free us from the daily dependence on the Most High, but to demonstrate the Most High's love and power in our lives, okay? This is us demonstrating, letting Him demonstrate His love and His power within our life. It says, if the Most High so clothe the grass in the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall He not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? You have to trust that He's going to do His part because He loves us and He wants us to have and be, but we have to follow the rules, you know what I mean? And there's always stipulations to, that portion. He loves those that love Him. So in loving Him, those that love me keep my commands. So make sure that you know what they are and that you are following them as you should be. Number 3, it says financial freedom is recognizing and rejecting false financial concepts. So some of those false financial concepts are, as an ad might read, be your own boss, implies that financial freedom comes by working for ourselves. True freedom begins by accepting scriptural restraints, whether we work for someone or for ourselves. So you have to portray scriptural restraints, okay? You have to do that. You have to be able to not be consumed. If you see something, don't run after it. Don't desire it. Don't make it cause you to sin. You don't need that. So the scriptural backing for that is going to be 1 Corinthians 7 and 22. Okay, that's 1 Corinthians 7 and 22. It says, for he that is called in the Lord, being a servant, is the Lord's freeman. Likewise, also he that is called, being free, is Christ's servant. Okay, so when we're serving Christ, we are also serving the Father. We are also serving the Most High as well, because Christ is the King of Kings, okay, and the Lord of Lords. So we are following Him to get to the Father. That's the only way. So we are His servants, inevitably. And that's not a bad thing. It is actually a great thing because He is the Creator. So why would you not want to be in service of Him when He can create anything? There's nothing that's impossible with Him. So anything that you could imagine and greater, He is able to do. Number 4, financial freedom is responding to the Most High's reproofs for wrong financial decisions, okay? Now, if you're messing up, He's going to reprove you. And if you are still seeking him and doing what you're supposed to be doing, then he will bring you out of those negative situations, especially when it comes to finances. Okay, the scriptural backing for that is going to be Haggai 1 and 9. Again, that's going to be Haggai 1 and 9. And it says, if we fail to fully apply the Most High's principles of finance, the Most High allows riches with sorrow or the devouring of our assets. Okay, so if you do things without him, you might get the money, but it's going to go away fast, like you never had it. And it will be with sorrow. And it's like more money, more problems. But if you do it with him, then what happens? You're utilizing it the right way. He's going to lead you. He's going to guide you into utilizing it the right way so that you can be prosperous, but as well as the kingdom is edified and he is edified through it, and you know that it's not of you that is doing it. It is him. So always keep that in mind, that it is nothing of yourself that you do anything. So in all that you do, in all your ways, acknowledge him and he will direct your path, is pretty much the direction you need to go with that. Number 5, financial freedom is choosing to serve the Most High rather than money. Okay, and the scripture to go with that is going to be Matthew 6 and 24. Okay, Matthew 6 and 24. And it states, the need of daily provision caused most men to build their lives in affections on temporal things rather than on eternal riches. Store your treasures up in heaven, okay? The only escape from slavery to money is to decide to serve the Most High. For no man can serve two masters. And that's going to be your scriptural reference there, is no man can serve two masters. You have to choose one. And in choosing the Most High, he will give you all of that. And you have nothing to worry about, ever. You know the promises, but understand the stipulations that come with that. Like, are you following the rules? Are you meeting the guidelines? Are you meeting the requirements in order to receive the promises? So make sure that you're diligently seeking and, keeping the commands as someone that loves him too. Number 6, financial freedom is giving the Most High tithes and offering. Okay, it is giving him tithes and offering. And the scripture to go along with that is going to be Proverbs chapter 3, verses 9 and 10. Okay, 9 and 10. And it says, poverty is a result of following our natural inclinations. On the other hand, the Most High's increase comes by developing a spirit of generosity according to the Most High's direction. Okay? And it says, honor the Lord with thy substance and with thy first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and and thy presses shall be burst out with new wine. Okay, it's gonna burst with new wine. Okay, when I think of burst, I think it's so much in there. It's so much there that it's uncontainable. Okay, and that is a great feeling for him to bless you in a direction where you can't even contain it. The emotion that you may feel, it's uncontainable, where you cry. And the thing that's being released, as in the tears, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't able to be contained because it just burst out of you because it was so joyful. Like, you have to look at the situation in that way, that it will be so great. But make sure that, you are giving as you're supposed to. Number 7 is financial freedom is keeping out of debt. That's keeping out of debt, okay? And the spiritual backing for that from the scripture is going to be Proverbs 27 and 1, okay? 27 and 1. And it says, most debt is the result of disregarding the Most High's limitations or rejecting the Most High's opportunities to show himself strong on our behalf. The basis of debt is presumption, assuming that we can pay back tomorrow what we have borrowed today. But the Most High warns that all such presumption is evil. So knowing that tomorrow is not promised to you, then you need to understand that when you do that, that he kind of considers that to be evil, as if you are the alpha and the omega, the ah and the tha, the beginning and the end, and you are not. So when you make promises for the next day, that's a no-no. That is definitely a no-no. And I think that because of the society and the system that we are a part of, it's very, very hard not to do that. But if you have the opportunity to save, then do that. Save up the money to get what you want. Don't put yourself in a position to inevitably be, subservient to another versus subservient to the Most High or Christ. It says, boast not thyself of tomorrow, for thou knowest not what a day may bring forth. Okay? You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You have no idea. So, obviously don't do that. Number 8 says financial freedom is learning how to abound and how to suffer need. Okay? How to abound and how to suffer need. The scriptural reference for that is going to be Philippians 4 and 12. Okay? 4 and 12. The Most High did not intend that wealth or poverty should be a permanent position, rather stages in development of true riches, inward character. Towards the end, Paul said, I know both how to be abased and I know how to be abound, to be full and how to be hungry. Okay, so in that, he's pretty much saying that I know how to be with and I also know how to be without. I know when I was poor, and I know what it feels like to be wealthy. And that is something that we all experience, but it's a character builder. You know what I mean? It is something to draw us closer, and also for us to realize that, we are totally reliant on the Most High. That's what it's supposed to be. He is our everything. You know what I mean? And in that, if you completely rely on Him, it's like those things are just character builders and trust builders and faith builders, and that's the time for you to draw closer and closer. And when you get to the point where you do have it, you're already so tight that it's like, my faith is on point and I don't have to try. You know what I mean? I know that I didn't doubt in my heart when I prayed for something and I asked for something, and look what happens. It came to fruition, because I didn't doubt, because I went through those things that, He tested me with, or He tried me with, and this was my poverty moment, and it was only for a short time. Number 9, it says financial freedom is having sales resistance. Okay, you have to be able to resist. Obviously, the scriptural backing for that is going to be 1 John 2 and 16. It's going to be 1 John 2 and 16. And it states, impulse buying is a sure way to financial bondage. Don't be impulsive. Do not be the kind of person that, I see it, I got to get it right now. Like, that is being impulsive, and you can put yourself in a really bad situation. For example, if you're in a rush to, hurry up and get a car, you saying, just give me the car, whatever you got to do, just give me the car. Those people are going to say, okay, yeah, we can get you in the car, whatever you need. But your interest rate might be 25%. And what? You're not going to pay off the whole thing at one time. So you're going to pay that 25% on it. So when you make your payment, it's only possibly covering the interest. So it's like the amount that you end up factually paying versus, okay, well, let me save up some money and let me get something, to get me from A to B, or, to working back. And then I save up slowly but surely to get something, or, hook that car up to how I really want it to be, customize it, whatever, then do that, Or is it about, I got to flex for the next person? Like, you shouldn't be so concerned with, I got to look better than the next person. It's not about that at all. Like, do you have what you need? Do you have a car? Do you have a home? Do you have food? Do you have, the basic necessities that, sustain a family? Also, the marketplace and the road to it are carefully designed. to trap the undisciplined shopper. But the Most High wants us to have the discernment which Eve failed to have in the Garden of Eden. Okay? We must reject that which appeals to the lust of the flesh, of the eyes, and the pride of life. We must be able to resist the things that are of those. Like, you don't want to get caught up because, I just like this, or I saw it and I just had to have it. Like, that turns into the sin because it becomes lust for you. Instead of it being, oh, that's something nice, or I think that looks pretty, or that's a beautiful flower, and, I enjoyed being able to gaze upon the Most High's creation. Like, don't let it cause you to lust or let it cause you to sin, basically. Number 10 says, financial freedom is recognizing and rejecting swindlers, okay? The shrewdest businessmen in history have fallen prey to swindlers. The scriptural backing for that is going to be Proverbs 2, verse 12 and verse 16. And it says, the swindler gives very few evidences of his deception. He is usually very personable and enthusiastic about how we can make a large amount of money. So they're excited. Oh, yeah, we can make this money. Yeah. Just give me yours. So it's kind of like, if they were making this huge amount of money, then why do you need mine? Or is that how you're making this huge amount of money? Because you're able to trick the unlearned and the undisciplined out of their money. If that's their game, then they're a swindler. They're not really, in the business of helping someone. They're in the business of, okay, well, if I can talk him out of his money, then I got my money for the day. My family's good, but he wasn't disciplined. Okay, it says, to deliver thee from the way of evil men and from a strange woman. That is going to be the portion of the scriptural reference. Only then will he be able to deliver. Okay, you have to figure out the warning signals. The warning signals are going to be things that, they're a fast talker, or they're not really answering your questions, or they're giving you vague information. It's limited, or they're withholding information. Okay, now in finances and credit and things of that nature, it is against the Fair Credit Reporting Act to extort people, okay? And what they're doing with the credit reports, if they're reporting things that are inaccurate, it makes you look bad, but they're gaining money off of that, okay? And so that in itself is a form of extortion unless it's accurate information, okay? So extortion is withholding information from someone and capitalizing off of that. Number 11 says, financial freedom is getting the best buy. Okay, getting the best buy. The scriptural reference for that is going to be 1 Timothy 6 and 6. Okay, 1 Timothy 6 and 6. It says, getting a good buy requires taking the time and effort to do research, and it means walking away from purchases which do not measure up to predetermined standards. It means knowing exactly what we want and what questions to ask in order to get it. Developing a good relationship with the seller helps to secure the best quality and the best service. Good buys are a result of disciplined living and inner contentment. Okay? You have to be content with yourself, and you have to be content with what you have in order to be patient enough to get the best deal, because sometimes it might not come the first time. You might be looking for the same item for a long period of time. So you have to be content with what you have until the best deal comes along. It says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. Okay? Number 12. Financial freedom is keeping accurate and useful records. Okay, accurate and useful records. So that's a main point, to keep your receipts and keep inventory and track those at the same time. Because, sometimes when you get a receipt from the store, after a certain amount of time, that ink starts to disappear, and you want to make sure that you still have record of, everything that you've purchased, what it costs, where did you get it from, all of that, even if you have to laminate it to make sure that it stays safe. The scriptural reference for that is going to be 1 Corinthians 4 and 2. Okay, 1 Corinthians 4 and 2. It says, if a venture is to prosper, it must proceed by wise planning, diligent working, and accurate record keeping. One's record keeping system, however, must be functional, informed, and clear in reforming the Most High's purpose for the funds. Okay? Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. Okay? Be found faithful. Keep accurate records. Okay? Be found faithful. Financial freedom is number 13. Financial freedom is refusing to lend or cosign. Okay? Lend or cosign. The scriptural reference for that is going to be Proverbs 6, verses 1 through 3. It says, if borrowing money makes us a servant then to the lender, then lending money to a friend forces that one to become our servant. If a person is truly needy, the Most High expects us to give that one's need. Co-signing means bondage for the one for whom we signed, and as potential bondage for us when circumstance does not turn out the way we had planned. So if we are to be surely for our friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, deliver thyself. So my understanding for that is going to be pretty much that if I'm borrowing money from the bank, I become the servant to the bank and not the Most High and not Christ. And if I lend my friend or cosign, money, then they inevitably become subservient to me because they owe me. So when they go to work, then when they make that $20 back or whatever they borrowed, that means that they're supposed to give that to me. They just worked that $20 for me, and that's it, and the Most High doesn't want us to do that. He wants us to work for Him, and in working for Him, that's what we're supposed to do anyway. And He will make us prosper. We don't have to owe anyone. We don't have to borrow. We don't have to co-sign, any of that kind of stuff. But if our friend is in need, give him or give her. If they need a meal or they need a shirt. That's your friend. That's your brother. That's your sister. Don't act like that. Number 14. It says financial freedom is developing full potential of the home. Okay? The scriptural reference for that is going to be Proverbs 31 and 10. Okay? 31 and 10. Many costly services which are performed by others were designed by the Most High to be done by the family in the home. So a lot of services that you see, like, for example, you might see Molly maid or something like that. Those tags are to be performed in the home. Who's supposed to be doing that? Everybody. Know your role. Teach the kids. Wife. Husband, do your part too, though. Teamwork make the dream work. It says, these indicate early education, medical recovery, care for elderly family members, and partial production in food and clothing. So if someone has a catering service, or they make clothes, or, they're a nurse, things of that nature, those things are supposed to be in home. Like, your husband or wife is supposed to, have a little bit of expertise in all those areas, especially medical, because if something happens to the kids, like 911 might take a long time. So you might want to know CPR. You might want to know how to put a fire out. You might want to know, what to do if someone, gets electrical shock, because the kids like to play in the sockets and the outlets and things of that nature. So you need to know what to do in between time where medical services are coming. So those are just a few examples. It says The key to such a home program is a wise, godly, and virtuous woman. Hey, girl. Anyway, her price is far above rubies. Y'all better know it. Far above. Number 15. Financial freedom is choosing a good name rather than great riches. So deep. Be honorable rather than, okay, I'm going to just do anything for the money right now and be a sleaze bag and ew. Malachi 3 and 10 is going to be the scriptural reference for that, okay? Malachi 3 and 10. Broken vows, secret sin, cheating of widows, dishonoring parents, and returning evil for good are a few of the violations which cause the Most High to withhold funds. You be doing wrong, He's going to withhold the money. Now, I know that I'm going over financial things, so I don't want it to seem like, oh, she's just all about money, but I'm just going over financial tips. So it's about money and what He wants us to do with it and how to do right with it. So, He's going to withhold it if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. He will cut it off. And that's when you go through those poverty moments that you don't want all the time, but only a short time. It says, when Israel experienced famine, King David discovered and removed the cause. And it does give another reference for that portion in particular. It says 2 Samuel chapter 21. And it says, in the same way, the Most High wants us to search our ways so that He is free to open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. He wants to open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that it is not room enough to receive it. Okay? That is in a great and massive way. But you have to be willing to remove those things that are hindering Him from doing that. And, I think that more so comes along with being able to operate out of love, being able to keep the commands, being able to, do what He's asking you to do and be led by Him, and you have nothing to worry about. Number 16. Financial freedom is knowing how to receive funds through prayer. Now, this is something that piques, my interest, because I feel like, when I think it was Solomon asked for wisdom instead of wealth and money and things of that nature, and He gave him so much wisdom, and then he gained all, the riches that came along with it. But I guess it's going into a little bit more of like, I have a thing with praying for money, you know what I mean? Like, I know that, you have not because you asked not, and He wants to give it to you and things of that nature, but I feel like, I don't know. Should I? Let's find out. The Most High delights in having His children trust Him for their daily needs, okay? That's fun for Him. She trusts me to make sure that she has everything that she needs, and I think that that's an excitement for any, I guess opposite sex kind of thing, like when a man comes to a woman and say, I need someone to talk to, she's like, yes, he wants to talk to me. You know what I mean? Like, I want to listen to everything that you have to say, and I want to tell you some great advice, and I want you to feel better, and I want you to, be happy. And, the Most High looks at us like, yes, she trusts me to, it's that I'm going to do it for her, and she knows I'm going to do it. And, she doesn't have to worry about anything because I got her. You know what I mean? Like, that's exciting for Him, and it's exciting for me too, but, it's exciting for me too, because when you know that He's going to do it for you, it's like, I don't have any doubt in my heart. I prayed about it and it's going to happen. Watch. Don't believe me, just watch. So the scriptural reference for that is going to be Ephesians 3 and 20. Okay, 3 and 20. And it says, when riches increase, however, it is easy to seize depending upon the Lord. And when we feel that we do not need the Lord, and when we feel we have and we lose our love for him, so when we feel like we don't need him anymore, we lose our love for him. And that is so true. Like, think about how many people have been in your world, and once you felt like that they were useless to you, it was like, okay, bye. And that's kind of sad, but it's so true. And I don't know if it's human nature or what, but wow, that was so deep. It says to remedy the situation. Okay, so this is how we get over that. This is how we fix that. This is how we not do that. It says the Most High brings unexpected needs which force us to his word and to prayer. So he'll make things happen in our lives that will make us say, Father, I need you, and I need you to fix this because this came out of nowhere. This is unexpected, but I know that you got my back and I trust you and it's gonna work. And it also says, see 2 Chronicles 7 and verses 13 and 14 for another reference for that. And it says, he then delights in giving us our daily bread and also doing exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think. That is so great. Exceedingly above all. That's such a great thing. Number 17 is financial freedom is having the courage to avoid partnerships. Okay? Having the courage to avoid partnerships. It says, see Daniel 1 and 8. Okay? Daniel 1 and 8. A man must propose ahead of time to reject any financial gain which comes as a result of violating scriptural principles. Once he makes this decision, he must reject pressure which would cause him to do wrong. Okay? Things that's going to cause him to do wrong. The basis of secular humanism is the thinking that the end justifies the means. In contrast to this, Daniel proposed in his heart that he would do what was right, regardless of the cost. I started Ahayah Records LLC because let me make sure that I let y'all know that I am incorporated. I started it because I wanted to have my own record label. I wanted to have my own way of creating music and then be able to run and operate a business the way that I wanted to, the way that I saw fit, but as subservient of the Most High in Christ. Like, I wanted to be able to freely create. I didn't want someone to tell me, you gotta wear this and you gotta do that and you gotta say this and you gotta say that. Like, I wanted to be able to let him use me, and through that he showed me so much, directed my path so much. Like, when I would go to Barnes and Noble to get a book, or when I was looking for certain information for whatever I needed at the time, he would like just directly show it to me. There was, for example, there was a point in time where I was looking for information on college radio stations, and it was like one morning I was it was right at sunrise too. I was just praying, and I had went and looked out the window, and it was like he told me, go look on the computer. And I went to my computer, and he told me to click on one of these files that was on my computer. And I clicked on the file, and it was boom right in my face. And I was like, what? I didn't even see that. You know what I mean? Like, I started scrolling through the document that it was in, that in the folder, and like reading through it, and it was like it was right there. Like, but I wouldn't have known that if he didn't direct me to go back to my computer and go into that file and look at this one, because I had it for a long time, but I didn't really read all the way through it. You know what I mean? And that's just me being honest. I did not read all the way through it, or I would have known that it was there already. But it was like he just told me what to do, and I went there and I found it, and I got all these references and sources, and it was just like, now I can utilize these resources to promote music or promote whatever I'm trying to do at the time, or help the next person as far as other independent artists that don't want to compromise or, be turned into, some other character that they were not created to be. So, in that, it's kind of like I chose that I wanted to do what was right regardless of the cost. Like, if people, laugh at me, or people say, well, she doesn't know what she's doing, because I've had people say that, and it's just like, excuse me, if you can't tell me what to do or how to do it, then please, you know what I mean? Like, if I come to you and say, well, since I don't know what I'm doing, can you tell me? If the answer is no, then you shouldn't be saying that. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know what I know. You don't know what information I possess. You don't know what my intellectual property consists of. So, people shouldn't say what they don't know. That's bearing false witness. That's going against the scriptures itself, but yet you proclaim. So, in that, choose to do what the right thing is to do. And when you have your own business, or you have your own goals, that you're being led to do in accordance, in direction as well, you know what I mean? Like, you do that. You don't focus on what anybody else has to say. Number 18 says financial freedom is detecting and conquering slothfulness. Ooh, this is so important, okay? So important. Okay, the scriptural reference for this is going to be Luke 12 and 19. Okay, Luke 12 and 19. Okay, trying to live without working is rebellion against the Most High's order. Okay, He has determined that provision must come by the sweat of the brow. Okay, and it gives a reference for Genesis 3:17 through 19 for that. It says his one remedy for laziness is hunger. Okay? If any would not work, neither shall he eat. Let me tell you something right now. I know that if somebody is hungry and they want to get something to eat, they are going to get off their butt and they're going to figure out how to get $1. They go get them some chips or something. Like, you're gonna try to go get something to eat, whether, you know what I mean, they're gonna do something. You ain't gonna stay hungry now. Like, that you need food to live. And I just thought that was funny, because somebody finna get up to go do something to make some money for food. Anyway, and that will be 2 Thessalonians 3 and 10, the scriptural reference for that. It says, any financial concept that appeals to slothfulness must be identified as not being from the Most High, and then must be rejected. Okay? One example is the false notion that we should work for a life of ease. Okay? So, no. Okay. I mean, I'm not even going to dig all in there. Those who do this are usually met with unexpected pressures or disillusionment, such as the rich man who said to his soul, okay, this is what the rich man said to his soul: thou hast much goods laid up for many years, take thine ease. And that's Luke 12 and 19, okay? So pretty much in that, he's saying, I done saved up enough money, I don't gotta work no more. But that's not our purpose in life, to make enough money to not have to work anymore. That's not why we're here. I mean, just to be honest, like, faith without works is dead. So if you stop working, does that mean that your faith stops? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you have to look at a situation like that. Do you become faithless at that moment? Because faith without works is dead. You must do. Works is a verb. Okay, work. It means to do. It's action. You know what I mean? So, how do you stop having faith? You know what I mean? You must work on the, your inheritance. You must work on the kingdom at all times. You know what I mean? Like, your work is never done by the sweat of your brow now, Number 19 says financial freedom is listening to the caution of your wife. Let me scoot that in. Let me say that one more time. financial freedom is listening to the cautions of your wife. The scriptural reference for that is Proverbs 1 and 5, just so you know. It says, many financial disasters can be avoided by listening to your wife's cautions about a financial decision before it is made. So if she says, honey, I don't know, let us talk about this at home first before we, make a major purchase. Let's go over some things first and make sure that our household is in order first. Did you take care of this bill? If we don't have the lights on and you can drive down the street, then what happens to us? We're in here in the darkness. So, she may have some kind of, something that is relevant. We may need this in the home or that before a major purchase. Just being, personable about it. You want to make sure that if she knows that there's something that's going on within the home that you guys might need to take care of first, then, that's just a little bit of an example, making sure that your bills are taken care of. Make sure that there's food in the house before you turn around and say, okay, I'm going to go spend $400 on a big screen TV, stuff like that. It says, the Most High designed the wife to be a help meet. Help. Okay. As such, she has special abilities to sense dangers which are often overlooked by her husband. A wise man will hear and will increase learning. Okay? That's what that's, referencing. Number 20, last but not least. Number 20 says financial freedom is knowing how to pass on an inheritance which ensures a godly and responsible heritage. Now, when it says pass on, okay, it's like a father to a son. You're passing on a godly inheritance, and it's for the better of your heritage, as in who you are as a people, but you're also giving your son or daughter, whomever, you're giving them an inheritance, but you're giving it to them in a godly manner or in a spiritual manner. And the scriptural reference for that is going to be Proverbs 20 and 21. It says, an inheritance is the Most High's way of passing on a heritage to children and grandchildren. The Most High's primary purpose through the inheritance is to strengthen the larger family unit. Okay, the larger family unit. Vital functions such as the education of the children, health care, home provision, care of the elderly, and resources for business are some of the responsibilities which the Most High intended for the family to meet. There are also dangers in an inheritance. Thus, the Most High gives both challenge and a warning. Okay, it says, a good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Okay, that's his kids' kids. So that's, a lot that, a good man is going to do. He's going to make sure that his kids' kids is taken care of. I'm going to make sure I'm going to do whatever I got to do, Most High willing, and, through him, let him use me in that way that my kids' are blessed. And it says, an inheritance may be gotten hastily at the beginning, but the end thereof shall not be blessed. Okay, and that's the Proverbs 20 and 22. So if you do things the wrong way, it won't be blessed. If you don't let it be through him and you be subservient to the Most High, then it will not come. Your blessing will be a curse. So that is the 20 ways to be financially free. Okay, and what it means. And I hope that those things helped you, through your journey. And in the next video, we will be going over how spiritual principles affect financial freedom. Okay, spiritual principles and how they affect financial freedom. Okay, so it's going to get a little bit deeper, and each week it's going to get a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper. I shouldn't say each week, because if I do it every day, or I do it in a diligence, or how he leads me, it might be every day, it might be, and so far it's looking like it is going to be that way, which I'm cool with. That's fine. But that's going to be the next subject matter, is going to be the principles, how they affect your financial freedom, this spiritual. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions or comments, then please leave it below. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure that you share with your friends, and make sure that you follow me on Instagram, and make sure that you go check out the website. I love you all, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.
Fully hair, deep like grass. Love on my life, it's always gonna last. Mama love it when I'm going to class, and every trial exists, yes, I'ma pass. 40 days, 40 nights, heat fast. Always by my side, always down the ride. That's why I call your name, they come and say today, you're the only one, you're shy.